ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಮಿತ್ರರೇ, ನಾವು ಕಳೆದ ತರಗತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್ಸಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮನ್ನು ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸರ್ಕಂಫರೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಊಪ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಈವನ್ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ಟು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ದಿ ಸರ್ಕಂಫರೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಊಪ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್ಸನ್ನು ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾನ ಅರೈವ್ ಆಗಿದ್ವಿ. ಈ ಒಂದು ತರಗತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಲಾಂಗಿಟ್ಯೂಡಿನಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಲಾಂಗಿಟ್ಯೂಡಿನಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್ಸನ್ನು ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ನಾವು ಡಿರೈವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ಥಿನ್ ಸಿಲಿಂಡರ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡೋಣ. First concept is longitudinal stress. In the previous class we have studied what we mean by circumferential stress, and even we have mentioned in the earlier class that whenever a cylinder which is having some fluid, either it may be water irbodu, gas irbodu, due to its internal pressure two types of stresses are going to develop in that. One is circumferential ಅಥವಾ ಊಪ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. The another form of tensile stress is longitudinal stress. Then how this longitudinal stress is going to develop in the cylinder? Once again, here also we are considering a cylinder which is closed at both ends, and it contains a fluid inside it. Whenever there is a fluid present inside the cylinder, the walls of the cylinder will have longitudinal stress as well as circumferential stress. Both types of stresses will be present on the walls of the cylinder. ಆ ಸಿಲಿಂಡರ್ ವಾಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ವೆಸಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್. ಅದರ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ದಟ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸಸ್ ಸಿಲಿಂಡರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ಲಾಂಗಿಟ್ಯೂಡಿನಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸಸ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸರ್ಕಂಫರೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸಸ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಸೇಸ್. ದ ಸಿಲಿಂಡರ್ ಈಸ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಅನ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ದಿ ಪ್ರೆಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಐದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಆರ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್, ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ವಿಚ್ ಆಸ್ ದ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ exert some pressure on the walls of the cylinder, there may be chances of that the cylinder wall may get failed. Therefore, that wall what we are having, we mean to say these are the elements which are going to resist the type of failure due to the internal pressure offered by the fluid, would be subjected to stresses. And the direction of these stresses is parallel to the longitudinal direction of the cylinder. Here in the figure we can see here, this is the vessel and this is the wall of the cylinder, and both ends of the cylinder are closed. Both sides the cylinder is closed, and the fluid is exerting a pressure P, which is shown here. Therefore, whatever type of stresses that are going to induce in the cylinder in the direction of the longitudinal direction of the cylinder, those type of stresses are called longitudinal stresses. Next, as earlier in the previous class, how we have derived some mathematical expression for circumferential or moving stress, in the same fashion here also it's possible to derive a mathematical expression to find out what is the amount of longitudinal stress developed in the cylinder. Once again, we are considering a cylindrical shell as shown in the figure A, which is subjected to internal pressure P. As shown in figure B, we can see the pressure, how the pressure is going to apply on the cylinder. As a result of internal pressure, the cylinder also has tendency to split into two pieces as shown in the figure. That's what here I have already mentioned the cylinder, both sides it is fixed. Due to this longitudinal stress, the cylinder may and the cylinder is having a tendency to split into two parts or two pieces as shown here. Therefore, let us consider few variables or parameters to derive the mathematical expression for longitudinal stress. Let P is the intensity of internal pressure, small d is the diameter of the shell or the cylinder, and L is the length of the cell, and T is the thickness of the shell. Once again, we know that the total pressure along its length of the shell can be expressed as it is designated by a letter Pt, which is equal to intensity of pressure into area. We already know small p is the intensity of the pressure, and into the area of the cylinder is pi by 4 d square cross sectional area, which is different from the circumferential stress for circumferential stress which we have taken earlier. Therefore, the longitudinal stress in the shell can be given like this. We designate by F2, F1 we have designated circumferential or hoop stress by F1. For longitudinal stress we designate it by F2, which can be expressed as total pressure divided by resisting section. We have already derived the expression for total pressure, that is P into cross sectional area, that is P into pi by 4 d square, divided by the resisting section. Here in this case longitudinal stress is pi into d into t, where t is the thickness, d is the diameter. Here after simplification we will get it as P into d divided by 4t. 1 dd gets cancelled. Finally we will get it as P into pi gets cancelled, P into d divided by 4t. Therefore this also tensile stress across the section YY. This is the tensile stress which is acting, which is developing across the section YY, what we have shown here in this figure. Therefore, and one more thing which we can be noted here is this is the longitudinal stress is of the circumferential or hoop stress. Means if we have calculated the circumferential stress, then if we divide by 2, or half of that value will be the longitudinal stress. Means the circumferential stress is twice the longitudinal stress. In the another way we can call it as a circumferential stress is twice the longitudinal stress. Once again, if we consider eta L is the efficiency of the longitudinal joints, longitudinal riveted joints of the shells, then the circumferential stress may be expressed as F2 is equal to P into D divided by 4T into eta L. If in some cases in the problem, if he has mentioned the efficiency of the longitudinal riveted joints, then the expression will be like this. We have to write the expression in this form, and we need to substitute the value of eta L. Till now we have discussed the concept of circumferential or hoop stress, and even we have understood the concept of longitudinal stress. Based on these tools, we can solve few problems on it, and the problems are simple. The first problem is as shown in the slide. A cylindrical pipe of diameter 1.5 meter and thickness 1.5 centimeter is subjected to an internal fluid pressure of 1.2 Newton per millimeter square. Determine the longitudinal stress developed in the pipe. and the circumferential stress developed in the pipe. In the problem, he has given the diameter of the shell or pipe he has given, and thickness of the pipe is also he has given, and the inside fluid pressure P also he has given as 1.2 Newton per mm square, and he is asked to find out what is the amount of longitudinal stress developed in the pipe and circumferential stress developed in the pipe. These are the two unknown quantities which we need to find out. Therefore, once again, before solving the problem, first we are going to list the given data. That is, the diameter of the pipe is 1.5 meters and thickness of the pipe is 1.5 centimeter. The thickness also we convert it in terms of meters, that is divided by 100. Therefore, it is 0.015 meters, and pressure P is in 1.2 Newton per mm square. Therefore, the circumferential stress is equal to 1.2 into 1.5 divided by 2 into 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 2. When you substitute the values here, we will get it as 60 Newton per millimeter square. The stress, circumferential stress or Hooke's stress value, whatever we have got here, is 60 Newton per millimeter square. In the similar fashion, we are going to calculate the longitudinal stress. The expression for longitudinal stress is nothing but F2 is equal to P into D divided by 4T, where P is the internal pressure exerted by the fluid, D is the diameter, and T is the thickness of the shell. P, once again here 1.2, we are directly substituting it, and into D is 1.5 divided by 4 into the thickness is 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 2. When we solve this, we will get longitudinal stress as 30 Newton per mm square. As we have seen in the theory part of it, always the longitudinal stress is half of the Hooke's stress or circumferential stress. That is what we can see here. The circumferential stress or Hooke's stress is 60 Newton per mm square. Half the value of this is 30 Newton per mm square. That is what we have got for the longitudinal stress. One more assignment problem I am giving in this session, which is similar to the problem which we have solved in this class. The problem is like this: a thin cylinder of internal diameter 1.25 meter contains a fluid at an internal pressure of 2 Newton per millimeter square. Determine the maximum thickness of the cylinder if the circumferential stress is not to exceed 45 Newton per mm square and a longitudinal stress is not to exceed 30 Newton per millimeter square. See here, the only difference from the previous solved problem is in that problem he has given the diameter, thickness and the internal pressure, and he has asked us to find out the circumferential or Hooke's stress and the longitudinal stress. But in this assignment problem, he has given the diameter as 1.25 meters and fluid pressure, internal fluid pressure he has given it as 2 Newton per meter square. But we need to find out what is the maximum thickness of the cylinder. Thickness of the cylinder we need to find out, but he has given the circumferential stress value. What we need to do here is, we know the circumferential stress formula as well as the longitudinal stress formula. In that formula, stress values are given, pressure P is given, diameter D is given, the only unknown is thickness T. Therefore, we can find out the thickness for both circumferential stress case as well as longitudinal stress case. This is the only difference between solved problem and the assignment problem. Therefore, once again we have arrived to the end of the session. we are having few multiple choice questions which can be easily answered. The question number 1 says like this: steel has a modulus of elasticity of dash MPa. Here the main thing is whatever these values they are given, it should be end up with megapascal. Either it is 200 megapascal, 2000 megapascal, 20,000 megapascal, or 2 lakh megapascal. You need to decide. The second question is: the modulus of elasticity is also known as the modulus of elasticity. We may call it as either Young's modulus, modulus of rigidity, Hooke's ratio, or field strength. You properly think of it and give the answer. And question number 3 says like this: a dash material is one having relatively large tensile strain up to the point of rupture. A dash material, either a material is malleable material, brittle material, conductible material, or ductile material. Which material is having a relatively larger tensile strain till up to the point of rupture? Till the point of rupture, which one is having more tensile strain? Question number 4: question number 4 is also same thing, dash material. Sorry, question number 3 is a material is having relatively large tensile strain up, but in question number 4, a dash material has relatively small strain up. See the difference. Question number 3, in that it was large strain, tensile strain, but in question number 3, the material, which material is having relatively small strain? The options are brittle, conductible, malleable, and ductile. See there is a slight difference between question number 3 and question number 4. You should be careful while reading the question. Based on that, you need to answer. And the question number 5 is: the region of stress strain curve extending from the origin to the proportional limit is called as rigid range, malleable range, elastic range, or plastic range. Already you have gone through the stress strain diagram for ductile material. You have observed the behavior of the material in the different regions, but he is asking us to tell the region from origin to the proportionality limit, what we call it as. These are the key answers for the given MCQ questions. After answering it, you can verify by using these key answers. Finally, we have arrived at the end of the session. For any doubts or clarification, you can contact me through my email ID. Thank you.